Well, today we are going to discuss chapter 4, Force and Pressure, class 8 science. Here in this chapter, force and pressure. You know about force and about also pressure. SI unit of force is Newton, while SI unit of pressure is Pascal. Now, here force is a push or pull which comes into play when there is an interaction of one object with another object. Here what thing? Force. Push or pull. You should understand this thing, push or pull, which comes into play when there is an interaction. What is this? Interaction. Action between two or more things of one object with another object. When we wish to change the position of a study table in our room, we have to push it. The study table does not move due to our presence alone. There has to be an interaction, push-pull, between us and the study table. The study table begins to move in the direction of the applied force. And here force, SI unit of force is Newton and CGS unit of force is dyne. You will study too much numericals also in class 9 just after this. Now next thing, once again, a force is a push or pull upon an object resulting from its interaction with another object. Here a bullock pulling a cart, applying force so that bullock is able to pulling a cart. Force does not always involve effort by living beings like humans or animals. Force can also be due to many natural causes. We may not be able to see such forces, but can still feel or observe their effects on objects. Effect of force. Change in the state of motion. A state. It means body is in the state of rest or in the motion. Change in the state of motion. Here you are observing in this figure. Here we realize that if the applied force acts on a body along its direction of motion, the speed of the body will increase. If the direction of force on the body is opposite to its direction of motion, the speed will decrease. It means in opposite direction. If force is applying, if the direction of force on the body is opposite to its direction of motion, the speed will decrease. In both the above two cases, the object is supposed to be moving in a straight line. Here you should know this thing. Force is a vector quantity. But what is vector or scalar? You should study all these things in class 9. If the force acts at an angle to the direction of motion, it can change the speed as well as the direction of motion. When a very small body hits a very large body, the force acting on both the bodies are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. However, the effect of force produced in the small body is very large as compared to the effect of force on the larger body. Now next effect, change in size, shape of an object. Now we can say make an object move from fast. Make an object move from rest. Change the speed of a moving object. Change the direction of a moving object. Bring a change in the size or shape of an object. cause two or more or all of these effects. An object continues to be in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. It is a natural tendency of objects to resist any change in their state of rest or of motion. This is known as the law of inertia. Inertia is the property factors associated with the magnitude of force needed. Factors. Here, introduction of a spring balance. A spring balance is a simple device that can be used for measuring the force acting on an object. It consists of a coiled spring which gets stretched when a force is applied to it. A stretching of the spring is measured by a pointer moving on a graduated scale. Here you are observing a pointer, graduated scale, hook, ring. A spring balance. This is the figure of a spring balance. A stretching of the spring is measured by a pointer moving on a graduated scale. The reading on the scale gives the magnitude of the force. The SI unit of force is 1 Newton. The force is said to be 1 Newton if it produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in a body of mass 1 kg. This is the definition of 1 Newton. Several times I have seen this thing, this question is coming. What is 1 Newton? Again I am repeating, the force is said to be 1 Newton if it produces an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in a body of mass 1 kg. Force has both magnitude and direction. What things? If any body which has magnitude as well as direction, this is a vector quantity and force is also a vector quantity. The force need not always act in the direction of motion. Depending upon the situation, force may act at an angle to the direction of motion. A force acting perpendicular to the direction of motion does not cause any change in speed but can still cause a change in direction. Now balanced and unbalanced forces. Here you are observing a figure. Unbalanced forces acting in the same direction combined by addition. F1 plus F2, that is equal to F1 plus F2. Here you are observing the resultant of unbalanced forces is always non-zero. For example, in a game of tug of war, this is a tug of war, this is a game tug of war. The weaker team always gets pulled towards the stronger team. We thus conclude that equal and opposite forces do not change the state of rest of motion of an object. They may, however, cause a change in the size and the shape of the object. Unequal forces may lead to change in a state of rest or of motion as well as change in size and or shape of an object. Now next thing, Sir Isaac Newton was a great physicist and mathematician. Newton wrote two important books, Principle and Optics. The first book described the theory of universal gravitation. The second book contained Newton's ideas on light and color and his optical researches. Type of forces: contact force, non-contact force. Contact force, muscular force. Force arises due to using of muscle. Such type of force is known as muscular force. Frictional force, I have already discussed. I will discuss this thing after this chapter about frictional force. Non-contact force, gravitational force, magnetic force. You know, force exerted by magnet is known as magnetic force. Here one important story, and you should read and try to understand. Here an apple is falling on the surface of the earth. What are the reasons? Simple reason: due to gravitation, due to gravity acted by the earth, so that this apple falls on the ground. Electric force, force exerted by electrical appliances, electric things. Here you are observing ebonite rod. Here there is repulsion, same charges. You know, if there are some same charges, in this case there will be repulsion. But if there is opposite charges, one charge is positive and another charge is negative, in this case there will be attraction. Glass rod and ebonite rod. Here we have taken both ebonite rod, but here glass rod and ebonite. Pressure, very simple thing. Pressure, thrust by surface area over which it acts. Force per unit area. Pressure, that is force per unit area. Force divided by area, this is pressure. SI unit of pressure is Pascal. Force Newton and area meter square. You may write this is also SI unit. Now next thing, in case of solid the force can be applied in any direction with respect to the surface. However, in case of fluids at rest the force must be applied at right angles to the liquid surface. This is because fluid at rest cannot sustain a tangential force. We therefore usually speak in terms of pressure in their case. Pressure always acts normal to the surface and it is always compressive in nature. We therefore need only its magnitude for its complete description. You will study all these things in class 9 also. Buses and trucks usually have double wheels on the rear side. High-rise buildings and dams have a wide base. Tanks and bulldozers are fitted with caterpillar tracks rather than wheels. Railway tracks are laid on large-sized wooden iron sleepers. Liquid pressure. Hydrostatic pressure. The pressure exerted by a stationary liquid at any point inside the liquid is known as hydrostatic pressure, liquid pressure. Here, the pressure exerted by given liquid increases with depth. It is for this reason that submarines are always built with very thick and very heavy metals. They have to withstand an enormous water pressure when they go deep down near to ocean floors. Properties of liquid pressure. Liquid pressure on the bottom of the container does not depend on the area of the bottom. Liquid pressure at any point inside the liquid depends upon the density of the liquid and the height of liquid column above that point. Now next thing, atmospheric pressure. Pressure exerted by atmosphere is known as atmospheric pressure. You should read all these things and try to understand. Basically, I have made this video for revision purpose. Variation in air pressure, importance of atmospheric pressure. Now, difference between force and pressure. Concept map. Try to read this thing. I have already discussed all these things. Now question answer time. Here I have written first interact, pull, direction, speed size, contact, electrostatics, decrease. And also value based questions. Hard work and attentive, 100 Newton along the west direction, 50 Newton towards left. Now question answer. Chapter 4, Force and pressure. I have written here force and pressure. First, force is applied by fingers on result in the change in shape. Force is applied by the athlete on the ground. The result is the athlete's jumps high up in the air. You may pause the video and you are able to write all question answers. Revise all question answers. Okay, but I want to share you, this is my humble suggestion to you all, subscribe my channel SK Singh Bikramganj for upcoming video. This is my fourth video for class 8 science. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.